Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria of Through the Peacock's Eyes. Welcome to another dog walk talk. So this, if you've seen these before, this is Karuk, and that there is Nolly. She really wants to sniff some things. So I thought I'd do a dog walk talk today. Haven't done one of these in a while. I don't often get a chance to just walk the dogs without Mini-Me, but I do today. So what I want to talk about in this video, it'll probably be pretty short, is the importance of pronunciation and use of words and word meanings, something like that, in prayers and spells, when doing chants, whether it's religious, spiritual, witchy, magical. It's important, and that's often stressed across various religions and various spiritual practices, that the pronunciation of what you do and the words you use is important, and the meanings of those words. Now, lots of you probably are familiar with Dr. Emoto's work with water and the energy water takes on based upon words. Some of that I think is controversial, although I agree with much of it. I think there's just some controversy out there about it, but words do have energy. The etymology of words have energy. The meanings of words over time, I feel like it builds upon the words, and then there's always a modern layer of meaning, so denotations and connotations. And the practitioner, whether it's you're doing spiritual chanting, you're saying a prayer, you're casting a spell, the intentions, the energy, the emotions behind what you put into the words is important too. So the reason I wanted to do just a little talk on it, and that's kind of all I have to say, I think, is because recently, I'll have to pause, I'll be right back. Okay, so as I was saying, the reason for this topic coming up for me is because recently, like within a couple of weeks, I've gotten 2 decks, both Oracle decks, where they used Latin on the cards, and there were lots of mistakes. Some grammatical mistakes, some inconsistencies. And if you don't know, I have a background in languages and linguistics, especially historical linguistics. So I love meanings and etymology of words and how words change over time. So some grammatical inconsistencies, like sometimes using the nominative, sometimes using the accusative, and so that's using like the subject form of the word or the object, or using a verb for a noun, just inconsistencies. And if there's a typo here and there, no big deal, one mistake, oops, creator missed something, that's fine. But it's like both of these decks, nearly half the cards either had the wrong form of a word or an absolutely wrong word that meant something completely different. And both of these decks were by creators who, from what I can tell, are some various form of magical practitioner. I mean, everyone really has their own practice, right? So I would think that they would be aware of that. And both of them, it somewhat seemed like the Latin was an afterthought and it was slapped on. One of the decks, the Latin words aren't even in the guidebook, and there's no mention of them, so it just sort of feels like an afterthought because both decks have an classical or an antiquities theme, and aesthetically that looks cool. But at the same time, whether the decks are used for divination, for spell work, for inspiration for a prayer or chanting, whatever someone's spiritual practice is, if the wrong word is on there in another language, even if the person has no knowledge of the language and they use that word, then everything they're doing is off. The meaning is wrong. The energy of the word used is off. So it will maybe not totally mess up the prayer or the spell work, but it will give it a different energy. And I know, like from studying Buddhism, Sanskrit, Vedic texts, even Christianity, and then, magical traditions, the pronunciation and what words you use are important. You know, spells are the word spell. You spell things out with words. Sorry, didn't need to see that. So, yeah, so one example, I'll give you an example. In one of the decks, there's a card for dog, and the guidebook talks about dog representing loyalty and so on, which is very common symbolism and meaning, magical meaning, spiritual meaning of dog. They do represent loyalty, companionship, and so on. But the Latin word used on the card is not canis, like canine. It's not it's not the common Latin word for dog. It was another word that is actually a verb form of which means something like to trace or track down, so in the sense of hunt. And so the idea might have been like a word for hunting dog, which might have been an obscure use in Latin times. But canis is what Romans would have like. So I should let you know, Latin was my first foreign language. And though it's been over 20 years since I was in school studying it, you know, I see this. And I did spend just an hour looking up all the words, double checking myself, cross-referencing, checking English to Latin, Latin to English to make sure. But both decks, when I opened them up, I was like, the Latin's off. It's wrong. I knew this. So anyway, if the Latin word for dog is a word that means basically like hunting or tracking down, so a hunting dog, basically. Although that's incorrect, but I'm just summing it up here. The meaning, if someone used that word with the dog card, one, none of that was mentioned in the guidebook, and two, just show you the little trail here, a little trail system. It gives the divination, the spell work, or anything someone might do completely different meaning, different connotation. Another example that I can think of off the top of my head, I was originally going to do this like sitting in my office and show some of the cards, but I thought, why don't we do a dog walk talk? Was the card for angel. So the entire deck is using Latin words. Now on the angel card, it has the word angelus, A-N-G, I think it's E-L-U-S. Now, angelos, alpha, gamma, gamma, eta, lambda, omega, sigma, is a Greek word. And angelos, where we get our English word angel, means messenger. So the creator, there's lots of people on the trail, so we're going to go this way. The creator Latinized a Greek word. Now there is a Latin word angelos or angelus, but it doesn't mean angel. It means, so the ulus is a diminutive in Latin, ulus, ula, ulum. And it's a diminutive, it's like, little. And angel means angle. So an angelus in Latin means little angle or little corner, like a small corner in a room, something like that. It doesn't mean what we in English see as angel. It doesn't mean messenger. Messenger is nuteus. So you have a misuse of the wrong Latin word and the Latin word used to replace a Greek word, and she could have just put the Greek word there, even with Roman letters, for a card for angel. And I know it may sound like I'm being very picky, and I am sort of a very linguistical nerd here, but it ties back in using the right words, using the right pronunciation, the right meaning, along with your intention and your emotions and your intentions and emotions behind your prayers and spell work. It's just if someone doesn't know and they decide to use faulty Latin or bad Latin, bad Greek, bad English, whatever language, it's going to change the energy of what you're doing. So I just wanted to, I guess this is sort of a rant, probably because I've just recently gotten 2 decks in a row with bad Latin. One of them I did return. The other one was a Kickstarter, so I guess I'll keep it. But yeah, I just want to stress the importance of knowing what you're saying, knowing the meaning behind it. If you're not sure, look it up or ask someone. If you're a deck creator and you want to put a second language, a foreign language, an ancient language on your deck, don't just look words up online and pick one out. Like another example. I think the card is, oh yeah, Libra. So the card is scales. The Latin word for scales is Libra. But on the card it says ascend or ascendo. Now if you look up scales, I think it's plural on the card. If you look up scales, you will find ascendo, but that is the verb to scale as in to climb. It has nothing to do with the Libra scales. That one is that's the most outright wrong one in the deck. And that's where I thought, the creator or someone the creator worked with just said, oh, let's slap some Latin on there, make it look cool. And they just looked stuff out online and just picked a word that came up when they looked up scales or scale. So anyway, if you're a creator, do a little more research. Ask someone. If it's an ancient language, call up your local university and their classics department, their Sanskrit department. You can find someone who can spend, like I did, an hour just looking over, double checking, cross-referencing, cross-checking to make sure the words you're putting on a magical and spiritual tool is correct. All right, everyone, that is my sort of rant. And so thanks for being here. We're going to continue our walk, and I hope you enjoyed coming along.